All right, we are going to get this meeting started at 2 o'clock. Natalie, can I get land acknowledgement, please?
Associated Students Incorporated at Sacramento State would like to take a moment to give honor and respect to the ancestors and to the diverse indigenous people connected to this territory on which we meet. The original stewards of this land belong to Nishnawin, Patwin, and Miwok Native Americans. Keep them in your mind, carry them in your hearts, and we ask that you take a moment to consider your ancestors and your relationship to the land we are on. Thank you.
Thank you. Sama, can we get the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Lisa, can I get roll call, please? Sorry, do we have a moment of silence? Okay. Lisa, can I get a roll call now, please? Thank you.
Chaco,
Present.
De La Garza Garcia,
Here.
Budani,
Here.
Estrella,
Present.
Andrade Dominguez,
Present.
Ayub Gawan,
Present.
Ibidao,
Here.
Pinchel,
Here.
Campbell,
Present.
Beltran,
Here.
Bolas,
Here.
Berea,
Here.
Hurst,
Present.
Carroll,
Here.
Curry,
Here.
Gallardo,
Here.
Montalvo,
Here.
Guerrero,
Here.
Gill,
Present.
Reyes,
Here.
Walters, Dalton, Rocha. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're going to move to the approval of minutes of 3/29/2023 board meeting and 4/05/2023 working board meeting. If there are no objections, the minute, are there any corrections? Okay, seeing none, the minutes have been adopted. All right, now we're going to move forward to public comment. Members of the audience may address the board on any item within the jurisdiction of the board or on any agenda item. If you wish to address the board, please sign the speaker identification sheet. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name and major clearly for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and the overall time is 15 minutes. Those wishing to speak on a non-agenda item will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the item has been officially introduced to the board. Every agenda item will be open for public comment before the board takes formal action on the item. At this time, if there's any public comment, you may stay forward to the podium, sign the speaker identification sheet. All right, seeing none, we're going to move forward. We have our consent calendar. On the consent calendar, we have 2022-23-04-111, Stay Pacheco, University Committee appointments. Is there any other items on consent? Okay. If there are no objections, the consent calendar will be adopted. Okay, seeing none, the consent calendar has been adopted. Now, the following items have been withdrawn. 2022-23-04-112, Stay Pacheco, recommendation to the President for University Committee appointments. 2022-23-04-113, Andrade Dominguez, Stay Pacheco, Faculty Senate Committee appointments. Now for new business, our first item, we have 2022-23-04-114, Budani operating rule change 411, ASI Scholarship Committee F, ASI Students with Disability Scholarship. Is there a motion? Teresa?
I move to approve 2022-23-04-114 Budani Operating Rule Change 400.11 ASI Scholarship Committee Section F ASI Students with Disability Scholarship.
Second.
Thank you. Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Teresa?
So as discussed during the working board meeting, and thanks to Lisa, it has been pointed out that the Services to Students with Disabilities has announced its new name, which is the Disability Access Center, ASI has a scholarship which we offer every semester, which is dedicated to the students that are served by the center. Therefore, I think we should adapt the change by updating the scholarship name from the ASI Students with Disabilities to ASI Disability Access Scholarship. I also talked with Mary Lee Vance just to confirm that it was okay for us to adapt to the change that they put into effect, and they said it's amazing and yes, we should change it. So the operating rule change just changes the name from SSWD to Disability Access. And it just brings clarity to the intent of the scholarship to reflect the recent change. I can answer any questions if you have. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-04-114, Udani Operating Rule Change 411, ASI Scholarship Committee F, ASI Students with Disability Scholarship, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the item passes unanimously. Next item, we have at 2022-23-04-115, Udani Bahia line item change, ASI student employment grant. Is there a motion? The Bishop?
I move to approve 2022-23-4-115 Budani Bahia line item change ASI student employment grant.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? The Bishop?
So, as mentioned during the working board meeting, the ASI student employment grant, to ensure that ASI is supporting students on campus, ASI has allocated a minimum of $300,000. But historically, we have moved money from dollars for organizations and clubs to the student employment grant to make it a whole of $350,000. As mentioned, we had set a deadline for all the clubs to submit their club agreement form, the CAF, by April 7th, 5 p.m. for them to receive the DOC funding. By the deadline, there were additional clubs who received the funds, and the amount that was left in DOC after was $21,560, which we are asking to move from DOC to the student employment grant. Now, if the chair may allow, I would like to pass it on to Mark.
I am allowing it. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just real quick, this is just one piece of the puzzle, and so when we go through the budget, we'll be able to see the big picture. But once again, if we don't move this money by the end of the year, then the money's going to be down to the end of the fund balance. So it won't be going to its intended purpose, whereas in the budget, we'll be moving it for student employment.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-04-115, Udani Bahia line change item ASI student employment grant, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have 2022-23-04-116, Udani approval of the 2023-2024 ASI budget. Is there a motion? Teresa?
Last one. I move to approve 2022-23-04-116 Budani approval of 2023-24 budget.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion? Teresa?
So, as mentioned in the previous working board meeting, we have brought to you the 2023-24 ASI budget. So this budget goes through the Finance and Budget, ASI Finance and Budget F&B committee. Last semester, F&B went to all the 6 ASI departments came to FNB and presented what they stand for and what they do. And this semester they came back and told us the amount of money they need us to pull through from this budget. ASI Finance and Budget Committee also looked over the student employment grant, which is at the bottom of the sheet. We got applications in December, and then this semester we oversaw the allocation. Now, if the chair allows, I will pass it on to Mark so he can talk numbers.
Thank you. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, VPF. Can we go back then last slide? There we go. Okay, so what we're looking at, I see Lisa's head, so I'll just look at myself. Okay, so it looks like we have a budget just over $11 million, and we discussed this last time, so there's only one number that changed, and it was based upon the legislation that was just passed. But I want to remind everybody a couple things that are in the budget. One, the healthcare benefits for Kaiser. It's 10.97%. We had a meeting with our healthcare rep on last Thursday. That's, as of right now, it's not going to change. So we're not going to get a lower rate for the Kaiser for this year. If something happens the next few weeks, then we'll implement that. But as of right now, that number didn't change. The other number that's we have in there, all departments have put in a 50-cent increase for the minimum wage. It hasn't been statutory yet or by law downtown at the governor's office. So right now we're just projecting a January increase of 50 cents for the minimum wage. So it's just being proactive on that. The other one that we have in there is a 3% COLA for cost of living adjustment or cost of living allowance for all full-time staff beginning July 1st. And that's basically just to keep up with what's going on out there. Still falling a little behind because the cost of living increase that we're getting charged, like on our rent and supplies, is around between 5 and 6%. Our rent's going to go up by 5.6%. So obviously with everything going on, I'm just trying to keep our staff be able to compete out there and buy those goods and services. So the last thing I want to mention too on this page is the student employment grant, where it has the $328,440 under the budget 23-24. At our last meeting, working board, that was $320,000 as a placeholder. As Druvisha mentioned, we are going to move $21,560 remaining balance in DOC to help the student employment grant. So the 328,440 on that one column plus the 21,560 is our 350 that's going to be on that student employment grant. Any questions on this page?
Are there any questions? Chris?
Yeah, the increased funding for the cost of living, does that affect full-time employees only, or does it include part-time as well?
Mark?
The 3% is set up for the full-time staff. The 50 cents in budget is meant for students and part-time staff for any increase they might have.
Are there any other questions? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-04-116, Budani, approval of the 2023-2024 ASI budget, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the motion has been adopted unanimously. Or the item, I'm sorry, has been adopted unanimously. All right, now we have our next item, 2022-23-04-117. Estrella Budani Pacheco, allocation of strategic priority funding for 1.1.1, engage in wellness activities / sponsorships / partnerships. Is there a motion? Bishop?
I move to approve 2022-23-04-117 Estrella Budani Pacheco, allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1, engage in wellness activities / sponsorships / partnerships.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion? Bishop?
As we all know, it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Office of Equal Opportunity will be tabling for Teal Tuesdays. This legislation is to sponsor a Teal table for up to $350 from the strategic priority fundings. We'll take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-04-117, Estrella Budani Pacheco allocation strategic priority funding for 2.1.1, engage in wellness activities / sponsorships / partnerships, please raise your hand. Okay, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the motion or the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have 2022-23-04-118, Ayukalan Pacheco Estrella resolution in support of AB 311, expanding California Food Assistance Program eligibility. Is there a motion at all?
I move to approve a 2022-2023 118 resolution in support of AB 311, expanding California Food Assistance Program CFAP eligibility.
Has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion? At all?
Nothing has changed. That the names that were added, that were wanting to be added, is added except for one. I just got to my email a little bit late, but do I have to amend that?
Which one?
The last resolution to add a name.
What name did you want to add? That does have to be an amendment, so, okay. So what is the name that you want to add?
It was a name that Lexa recommended, but I got to her email late.
Let's do Will.
Brian Guzman, but I don't know his title.
Brian Guzman, does anybody know?
Or who he is.
Salma?
He is our point person for Sherla, which is Sheila, that we work with at the DRC. So the Dreamer Resource Center. Sorry for all of the acronyms. I don't remember what
No, it's
Sheila
fine.
stands for.
It's fine. I don't remember what it stands for specifically either, but I think we're gonna need his title, so I don't really know what to do right now, so.
There you go. The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. Oh, I see.
Yeah, but they don't know.
They don't know his title. That's grammatical.
The title is, well, you can add his name as an.
Okay, so we're just gonna add his name. So we are gonna add his name with the assumption of being whatever position from Chibla. So go ahead and, if there are no objections, we're gonna add that amendment. All right, so we're gonna vote on the amendment to add Brian Guzman from Chibla. All in favor of adding Brian Guzman from Chibla, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the amendment has been adopted. Now we're going to go back to the actual item. Is there any further discussions on the item? The amended item. All right, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-118, Ayukalan Pacheco Estrella resolution in support of AB 311, expanding California Food Assistance Program eligibility, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, that item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item is 2022-23-04-119, a Ayukalan resolution in support of SB 808, Title IX investigations. Is there a motion at all?
I move to approve the 2022-2023-04-119 resolution in support of AB 274, income exclusions for PALBRICS.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. know what? I'm so sorry. I read the wrong legislation. Okay, let me try that again. Our next item. I'm looking at this one, right? CalWorks?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember what that was. Okay, I read the wrong one. I skipped on. So 2022-2304-119, Ayukulon Resolution in support of AB 274, income exclusion for CalWorks. Is there a motion? At all?
I move to approve 2022-2023-04-119 resolution in support of AB 274, income exclusions for CalWorks.
Second.
Thank you, and good catch. Is there any discussion at all?
It's just, no change was made and it'll be distributed to the following list.
All right, are there any discussions? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-2304-119, Ayukulon Resolution in support of AB 274, income exclusion, for CalWorks. Please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the item has been adopted unanimously. All right, now we have our next item, 2022-2304-120, Bolas Hearst Resolution in support of SB 808, Title IX investigations. Is there a motion? Veronica?
I move to approve 2022-2304-120, Bolas Hearst Resolution in support of SB 808, Title IX investigations.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion? Veronica?
Nothing has changed in this resolution except that we changed it to content warning in the beginning, and we added a couple names in the end of the resolution.
Okay. Are there any further discussions on the item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-2304-120, Bolas Hearst Resolution in support of SB 808, Title IX investigations, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have 2022-2304-121, Bolas Hearst Pacheco Resolution in opposition of anti-Semitic propaganda on campus. Please, is there a motion? Justin.
I move to approve item 2022-2304-121, Bolas Hearst Pacheco Resolution in opposition of anti-Semitic propaganda on campus.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussions? Justin?
Yeah, so there were a couple of edits that were made since the working board last week. I'll go through them really quick. In response to the recent Saxon, we updated the count for the number of incidents that have happened in the past several years to 10. And then on the back, we also updated the resolved to include the chief of police per suggestion from the working board. And I believe, oh yes, and then we added one more clause on resolved at the very end, so I'll read that one. We added resolved ASC SUS implores President Nelson and the administration to outline concrete details and action items for how they plan to address and prevent future incidents of anti-Semitism. And finally, be it in the last resolve section.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Veronica?
I think this is one that we should read out, if that's okay with you, if you want to read it, Justin.
Give me 1 second. Robin, do you have something?
I just wanted to say that the Division of Inclusive Excellence is also taking action on this, and that we've added another goal to the Anti-Racism and Inclusive Campus Action Plan that directly addresses anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic behavior on campus.
Thank you. Justin?
I'll start by reading it out then, if that's okay. So it starts, whereas Associated Students Incorporated at California State University, Sacramento ASC SUS as the sole representative voice of more than 30,000 students in Sacramento State, and whereas it is the duty and focus of ASC SUS to represent and support our students and advocate for policies that would benefit the student body, and whereas Sacramento is home to over 25,000 Jewish people, and whereas approximately 3.1% of California residents and 2.4% of all adults in the United States, totaling about 5.8 million adults in the country, identify as Jewish, and whereas there have been at least 10 incidents of anti-Semitism on or near campus dating back to October 2017, and at least 6 of which have occurred and been documented in the 2022-23 academic year, and whereas these instances on our campus include the distribution and posting of anti-Semitic propaganda, the vandalism of campus property with swastikas and anti-Semitic speech, and hateful gestures such as Nazi salutes. And whereas President Nelson stated during Saxton, quote, "The appearance of these symbols on and near our campus is a reminder that we must consistently and proactively stand against anti-Semitism, white supremacy, and all other forms of hate on our campus." And whereas President Nelson and the Division of Inclusive Excellence are committed to the Anti-Racism and Inclusion Action Plan through the addition of a new goal. President Nelson states in his Saxon, quote, "We are crafting a new goal which will codify how we will respond to this type of defacement." And whereas Nazi hate symbols deeply impact individuals and communities that were persecuted by the Nazi regime, Jewish, LGBTQ+, disabled people of color, Romani, and anyone else not conforming to neo-Nazi and Nazi ideology, and therefore let it be resolved. ASC SUS stands in solidarity with Jewish and other students, faculty, staff, and communities affected by neo-Nazi and Nazi hate symbols, propaganda, speech, and gestures seen on our campus. And be it resolved, ASC SUS denounces the acts of neo-Nazi and Nazi hate symbols, propaganda, speech, and gestures. And be it resolved, ASC SUS calls on the Sacramento State community and administration to be informed of the history and events of neo-Nazis and neo-Nazis. And be it resolved, ASC SUS urges the administration to continue denouncing the acts of anti-Semitism on our campus and support all affected communities. And be it resolved, ASC SUS implores President Nelson and the administration to outline concrete details and action items for how they plan to address and prevent future incidents of anti-Semitism. And finally, be it resolved that this resolution be distributed to that list of people.
Thank you. Is there any discussions, any further discussions? Rob?
Yeah, I just forgot to mention, tomorrow is the Faculty Senate meeting. It's open to the public. It'll be across the hall in the Pacific Suite. And this topic is on their agenda. Dr. Mesa Tilwell will be addressing it, and anyone who's interested in coming, I encourage you to attend. So you can see the alignment of the institutional action with this resolution. Wonderful.
Thank you. Is there any other discussions? All right, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-2304-121, Bolis Hurst Pacheco Resolution, opposition of anti-Semitic propaganda on campus, please raise your hand. All right, you can lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the item has been adopted unanimously. All right, now we're going to move to our next item of the agenda, which is the ASI College Director Reports. You guys are going to get up to 2 minutes to deliver your report and up to 2 minutes for questions. All right, our first board report. Adderall, whenever you are ready.
Okay, hi everyone, what's happening? I'm just gonna highlight that my office hours are gonna be changing on 2 Mondays due to the committee that I'm chairing, because we're gonna be tabling to complete the project that we're able to. So stay tuned on Instagram because I'll post it there. Wellness and Sexual Safety Committee, I want to highlight that we had 2 presentations that were very powerful and that I just thought were really great information to have. And then my Alcohol Advisory Committee is done. We had our last meeting March, I believe. And then Lobby Corps approved, not approved, but wrote a few resolutions with our legislative affairs coordinator and passed and took action on a few. Great appeal committee, I'm working on it. Strategic priorities are done, and some are going to be continued, like the mic'd up one, which I'm in progress with working. March was filled with a lot of events, and it was my birthday, PE. And we had our chess conference, which was really amazing because I met a lot of cool people, which was great. My presentations are done, and the picture is a group picture that we took out of the darkness. And then the last picture is my last few selfies that I have with P. Nelly before he retires for Out of the Darkness. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions for Admiral? Okay, seeing none, we have our next board report. ASI, whenever you're ready.
So my office hours are up there, updated the special note. This month has been busy. I wish I could have gone to a little bit more events, but I think I've been a little bit more heads down with trying to wrap up some of the strategic priorities up there. So I'll kind of run through those. Scholarship committee, the deadline was this Monday at 11:59. I was a little bit behind, but I got all of them in by 11 p.m., which is really cool. Thank you, Gerald and ASI IT for helping with the remote desktop setup. That helped a lot. Was able to grade all of them, really touching scholarship applications out there, so really cool to go through that process. Student fee advisory committee is pretty much wrapped up. Waiting for bookstore advisory committee to take place, and that's kind of the last committee meeting for me this semester. Jumping into strategic priorities, the collaborate with the Alumni Center Association, met with them today to wrap up some of the logistical stuff. Thank you, Lisa, Evelyn, and everyone that's been helping with the food order. That's been pretty much done. So all we have to do as a board is show up to that event on April 26th. I think that's also Denim Day, so we'll be showing up in some denim, which will be cool. And then for 1.3.1, exploring the Student Entrepreneurship Growth Grant, or updated to SEED now, we selected our 2 recipients. Thanks to everyone on that strategic priority for completing the interviews with Cameron from the Carlson Center. We selected our 2 recipients, and I'll be sending their names and stuff over to Lisa so they can pick up their money and then start working on the idea. 2.2.2 has been done. 3.3, connection with commuters. We have finalized a date, time, and location. During my office hours has been doing much of the same, wrapping up the strategic priorities, catching up on emails. Some of my events are listed there. So the next focus will be to wrap up some of the stuff that I have to do in my position, like presentations and such. But admitted student stays on the 29th, and I'm able to go in. So college business, I'll be there. Okay, good. That's that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for AZ? All right, seeing none, we have our next board report. Cash, whenever you're ready.
Office hour and the content premises is over there. Congrats to all the students. This is the last month of your college life who are graduating. We did great. For the internal committee, we had a walk and we had 2 speakers in our last meeting, which was great. We had quite information related to the topic. For the AIDC committee, we are wrapping up. We haven't met with after the last meeting in the TAC, Transportation Advisory Committee. We are meeting on 14th April. For the strategic priority, we are. I am almost done. Next event is on the 19th April and 26th April to completing other 2 priorities. Office hour, updating bulletin board, meeting with the students, JC officers, such as that. For the meeting and events, I had on the 1st April we had a ECS Expo, and it was really great turnout. We didn't know that our flyer was on the 365 news channel, and quite a few people showed up, like upcoming students who are just elected in our ECS program. So we are really happy. One of the sponsors also showed up from our colleges, and there are a few pictures under them. One was from the happiness event. Then one is from the expo. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Tesh? All right, we have our next board report. Chris? Chris, whenever you're ready.
Okay. It's been a pretty eventful month this month. Office hours haven't changed, and I'm gonna skip my special note to report it. And to move on to internal committee updates, the ASI Green Team has been discussing the impact of small gas powered leaf blowers and the possibility of using electric alternatives to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We're also discussing our plans for Earth Day. And for the Earth Day celebration, we're going to be doing a survey and then a chalk drawing activity. And additionally, we're going to be giving out some confetti that we got from Gina. Thank you, Gina. The Anchor University Advisory Committee postponed their March meeting. Strategic priority updates. All the priorities are pretty much complete except for 2.1.4, where we're still continuing to disseminate information about monkeypox and COVID-19. Office hours, I planned ASI events, responded to students, faculty, staff concerns, and worked on the ASI student priorities. Meetings and events. Every week I have a meeting with the dean, or excuse me, associate dean, and people on the post-traumatic growth and planning team. So I meet with them every week. So as a part of the Great Hornet Cook-Off, I went to the chess reception and an event. Some of the other stuff that I did was I served on the search committee for the Director of Student Success for the College of Health and Human Services, and you can just scroll down to some of the photos that kind of highlight the things I've done. The Out of the Darkness event, and then here's a photo that we took for the Science and Practice of Post-Traumatic Growth event. This is after a committee meeting, or planning meeting. So yeah, that concludes.
Thank you. Is there any questions? All right, seeing none, we are going to move to our next board report. Katie.
Hello. So my office hours haven't changed. My contact information hasn't changed. During my office hours, I have the opportunity to reply to emails, or post on my positional account, or on strategic priorities. And then I finished calculating the fundraiser costs for the Joint Council, and I'm just waiting for a follow-up from my college. And then committee updates for the Wellness, Safety, and Sexual Assault Awareness Committee. This committee has really been eye-opening, and I've learned so much while being on this committee. And then we had the Out of the Darkness walk on April 6th, which was a really powerful event. And we had a lot of guest speakers who shared their stories, and I think that was so beautiful that they had the courage to do that. And then the Alcohol Advisory Council, that one's done for this semester. However, I just got an email before this that they are doing a Narcan training at the end of the month for a nurse, and the nursing students will provide the training. And then the Grade Appeal Committee, that one's a very long process, and I'm waiting to hear back from 2 professors on the rebuttal stage. Like I said, it's a very long process. And then strategic priority update, AZ and I just did the interviews on Friday for 3 of the 5 3 of the 5 finalists, and then on Monday we had 1 more. So we're kind of just waiting to get back to them on that, and then pretty much I think that's all. And then April, one of the events so far that highlighted was the ASI Town Hall. I learned a lot from administration, and I also learned a lot on how to work Zoom. And then I think that's pretty much all. And then I did my ASI presentations. And then a special note to our Hornets, I'll be fast.
Thank you. Is there any questions for JD? Tej?
Is there anything you would like to add?
Oh, I'll just read my special note because it's kind of funny. As the sun starts shining brighter and the flowers start blooming, we all know what that means. Allergy season is here.
As we approach the end of the semester, don't forget to take a moment to enjoy the beautiful weather and take care of yourselves. It's been a tough year for all of us, so give yourselves a pat on the back. Finish off strong.
Thank you. Is there any questions for JD? All right, we have the next board report. Veronica, whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone. So I'm just a little bit under the weather, so if I sound kind of weird, that's why. But nothing has changed with my office hours or contact information. But going into my internal committees, for Student Academic Senate, we haven't met since I think before break, so we should be meeting soon. So I don't really have updates for that yet. But then the other internal committee, Green Team, we've met a couple times, but mainly the biggest thing that we've been discussing is for Green Team, the biggest thing that we've been discussing is first we were discussing the AICP symposium and tabling at that event, and then now we're kind of focusing on Earth Day and the events that we're going to be doing there. So we're thinking of doing, like Chris said, chalk and then a chalk contest, and then also a survey that's going to go out to all of the students. And then for my university committees, academic policies, we're still reviewing all of the policies. They're still being looked over by department chairs, but we've also been discussing a lot of faculty's concerns about attendance in their classes and everything. And then we're also talking about the excused absence policy. We're looking at that one pretty closely. So it's been nice to be able to add like mental health in there and things that wasn't there before. And then Committee on Diversity and Equity, we've only met once since the last time, and we're just we're finishing up like the recommendations of like changing the committee's roles, standing roles and stuff. For procedure priorities, they're pretty much all completed except for the clothing drive. The racks are still going around to the different centers.
Is there any questions for Veronica?
Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Do you have anything else to add?
Veronica? Yes. And then connections with commuters, we already have the space booked. A few things I want to highlight for the events was the Glimpse of the World event. That one was really, really exciting, and it was honestly a lot better than I expected. We had a really big turnout, and I had a lot of really great feedback from students afterwards saying that they had a great time. And then I forgot to put it in there, but the Out of the Darkness walk, it was a great experience. It was my first one, and it was really emotional, but in a good way. And I want to thank Salma and Lexa for speaking on it. It was a really great experience. But that's it.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for Veronica? All right, seeing none, we have the next board report. So Chief, whenever you're ready.
Alright, it's April. We're almost done with spring. And finals are around the corner, so take care of yourself. Internal committee updates, we met every week in March except for one week for F&B committee. And also 2 weeks for April, where we discussed the possibility of changing the student employment grant to the campus divisions that need to allocate using viewpoint neutrality manner. And on April 4th and yesterday, we also reviewed several emails thanking the F&B for allocations. And then we came up with a line change item to transfer the remaining doc funds to use for the student employment grant. And for the university committee updates, I'm serving as a chair for Union Walls. I have a meeting with audit firm Clifton Larson Allen on April 26th, just to check in how's everything going. And for the Friends of the Library, we met on March 10th to review the treasury report and review the draft brochure for bookends 2023. For the strategic priority updates, 1.3.1, the Student Entrepreneurship Empowerment and Development Seed Grant. We completed the interviews, JD and AZ finished the interviews and finalized the candidates. And 1.2.1, as AZ mentioned, that we met with Career Center and Alumni Association on April 6th to finalize the event with venue, which will be held on April 26th in Riverview, Alderbury and Beetle Room from 4 to 6 p.m. We finalized the menu and placed an order at Epicure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lisa, for your continued support.
30 seconds.
And for the, okay. There's a 3.1.2 collaborate on a cultural celebration. I performed in cultural fairs. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, everyone. And for the meetings, there are some meetings. Out of the Darkness Walk, it was my first time because we never had something back in India. So it was really emotional for me. It was something shocking for me, but in a good way though. And I finished 9 to 10 presentation. So hang in there, don't forget that you're awesome.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Sachi? Thank you. Justin, you are up whenever you're ready.
I'll just stick with it on the stand. I'll try to be quick. My office hours have not changed, though I just want to make a note that I know my constituency, a lot of grad students can't necessarily make anything during their 9 to 5 jobs, so please reach out to me and I'll see if I can work something out to hear any concerns. As far as updates for committees go, it hasn't been a whole lot. There's been a couple of SSJ and EC meetings revolving around a podcast that we recently recorded. Very exciting. There was an important conversation about faculty diversity and how that affects students. Moving on to university committees, there was a graduate studies policy committee meeting where we talked about the graduate credit hour policy, and there was a discussion around whether or not to call culminating experience projects a thesis or not, and the language of that is being finalized. Moving on to strategic priorities. The clothing drive is ongoing. Unfortunately, I did not get a photo while we were out collecting clothes a couple of weeks ago. I felt like I was a sight to behold with a stroller in one arm filled with clothes, a baby on my chest, and bags in the other hand. That was fun. But I'd also like to thank my fellow directors for inviting me to the other strategic priorities on our 1.2.1 and 2.1.3. Looking forward to working on those as the rest of the semester goes. Moving down to the next page, there's been several meetings that I've attended, but a lot of my projects have revolved around, as I mentioned before, trying to set up the joint council for my position, which thankfully I was able to do right on the deadline. So I'm hoping that we can have a meeting sometime soon to just talk about transitioning to next year. I don't think a kickoff event would be possible this late in the game. I did not include anything in the early part of March because that was on the previous board report, but I really enjoyed attending all the different events that I'm able to go to, especially the grad week last week. And then lastly, I would just like to thank my fellow directors, Veronica and Shachi, for showing me how to do the classroom presentations earlier this week. So I'm looking forward to getting that kicked out. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Justin? All right, seeing none, that concludes our board reports. Now we have our announcements. Are there any announcements? Sandra?
I don't need to tell half of you here, but today is the elections. Please get out to vote. Do everything in your power to get the network out. I know that I've seen a lot of beautiful faces tabling all day, and I just wish that all the candidates do take care of yourself. I know this is grueling, and I've been able to touch base with one-on-one with a lot of you. But good luck, everybody, and the elections result party will be tomorrow. So see you there.
At what time tomorrow?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Awesome.
In the global.
Thank you. Chris?
So this is more of an update than an announcement, but I thought I'd let you all know our sex positive trial was supposed to happen yesterday. As of Sunday at 10 p.m., I was unfortunately told it was canceled. I was given no other reasoning. However, I'm hoping it'll happen next year, so I just want to thank y'all for being so supportive for it and just being out, wanting to come out and things like that, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Sachi?
There is the Meet the Majors event on Monday, April 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the library room 3520. So it's a great opportunity to talk, discuss, and answer any questions that students might have about their major. So just join.
Thank you. Tricia?
The deadline to submit the scholarship rubrics to me was on Monday, and gladly all of the people on my ASI scholarship committee as well as all the directors got back before time, not even on time, before time, except for AZ. There was a little chaotic. There was some misunderstanding on what to grade, but he did submit it on time though, before time still. Thank you for doing all that you do. I have forwarded it to Emily, and hopefully next legislation cycle we will be approving the scholarships. So as of right now, since we approved the $350, we have $675 left in strategic priority funding, and as of right now, I don't think anyone wants to use those funds. So I will send you an email with the deadline to respond back to me. And how do you think we should, what we should do with those $675 that are left? I want to make sure that a legislation's been put so these monies are going somewhere. There is no updates on DOC since we closed DOC on April 7th and all the money has been forwarded to student employment grant. And on that note, since we've been talking about student employment grant, the process has been very rigorous and it's not sustainable anymore. The F&B committee, ASI Finance and Budget Committee, has been working really closely with all the divisions to make a huge change happen. So look out for that. And if you're interested in being part and supporting F&B, please reach out to me so I can put you on the legislation and we can talk more about it. But please let me know if you have any questions about anything. And there's a lot of legislation upcoming. Thank you.
Any other announcements, Justin?
Yeah, I just want to thank the Division of Inclusive Excellence for the event that they're having this week with regards to what we were discussing with the last resolution. Really encouraging to see that the university is taking these issues seriously. That's all.
Any other announcements? Miguel?
Okay, so the CSSA will be having a special Board of Directors elections meeting, which will be happening virtually over Zoom. It will be happening this weekend, April 16th on Sunday. It will take place from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the meeting will hold elections for executive member positions for the CSSA for 2023 and 2024 academic year. So the meeting is also open to the public. Like to join in, see me, and I can email you a Zoom link. And lobby core meeting will be held tomorrow, 4:30 in the Capitol Room, under the early evening, 4:30. If I've said that already. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? All right. I'm going to go with mine. We have Denim Day, which is April 26th or 26th. And we are going to be wearing denim on that day. So I believe that's a formal board meeting. So everything is just going to be, just wear denim. You don't have to come all dressed up. Just wear denim in solidarity to Denim Day.
My favorite part. I actually want to start off my announcements by saying happy birthday because we had 3 birthdays this week. So happy birthday, Veronica and JD and Lisa. Lots of Aries in the room. Other than that, I just want to reiterate basically what Sandra was saying, like please encourage people to vote. I was so excited walking through the quad today. Love to see it, love to see student engagement. So please keep up the really great work. Other than that, we're almost done with the semester, so please make sure that we're really working towards finishing our strategic priorities and working on our transition board report. So after this week, we'll know who is the candidate elects, right? Coming up. So I really encourage you to start inviting those people after we find out on Thursday to your meetings. Start introducing them to your deans or to other people that you regularly meet with. Have them start to shadow you so they can get used to what it feels like to be a part of our board. Other than that, I will be doing check-ins with you all next week. I'm looking at Lisa because it's on my calendar because of her. But next week I will be doing evaluations with you all, so please look out for that email to book them with me. Thank you for those that have already done it. All right, other than that, I've got nothing else. Take care of yourself, sleep, drink water.
All right, I am adjourning this meeting at 2:54.